Dr. Lou. Dr. Lou. You hear me? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Dr. Lou.
Hello, Eric. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, excellent. Thanks for coming on to the podcast.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if we were having it or not. Podmatch is a strange, or maybe it's me that's strange. I haven't gotten used to the platform interface yet. So
hmm Yeah,
sometimes I'm not sure if signals are getting, connected or not.
yeah, yeah. Where are you calling in from?
I'm in New Jersey. How about you?
I'm in San Francisco. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Early for you.
yeah.
Earlier. Yeah.
um, I'll pull up your thing. Okay, excellent. And okay, excellent. So you're a podcaster. Excellent. Do you have any questions for me to make your podcast experience a good one?
No, I appreciate that. Your audience, who do you serve so I can best serve them as well?
Yeah, so audiences, they're professionals, executives, high income earners, doctors, lawyers, dentists. They want to hear a inspiring podcast about business entrepreneurship, so you can talk about your early days and what your company does, and kind of leave them with some education, inspiration, wisdom, so they can follow, check out your social media, or book a call with you, or sign up for your programs, etc. So
Yeah. I appreciate
yeah,
that. I have a really powerful message for that demographic in terms of building a personal brand online
okay,
because I have all statistics and stuff that may resonate with them as far as like the importance of building their personal brand, whether they're an attorney or a doctor or a banker, whatever it is. You know, they
yeah,
um they don't tend to want to do those things or be active on social media, but it's necessary for sure.
yeah,
Moving into the future.
yeah. Excellent. And I see you have the transcript. Is it possible to I can share this recording with you afterwards, and we
Yeah,
can you share the transcript with me? Because and
100%.
then yeah,
Yeah, let
yeah,
me.
excellent.
I'm gonna hide that on my end. Let me just make a note so I don't forget that. I'm sorry, Dr. Lou. What is your area of practice?
Oh, I specialize in orthopedics, and and also for the guests, we keep it very informal, so we just go by first names, and
Yeah.
nothing formal or anything. So
Okay.
yeah,
I like calling you Dr. Lou, but okay.
yeah.
So do you just go by Christopher or Chris?
Chris, yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, I actually trained up in Rutgers in New Jersey, so
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
familiar with that area. But
Yeah. You worked hard to earn your PhD, and I get it.
yeah.
Guys like to wave it around and put it on their license plate, and you know, I get it. I get it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Are, are you in what part of New Jersey are you in?
I'm in Robbinsville, so 45 from Philly and about an hour to Manhattan, so right in the middle.
Oh, okay, excellent. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, that was I remember the 90 I-95, so
Yeah,
uh
95. We're exit 8. Um, and we're about 20 minutes from Princeton. So we're like right there. Rutgers isn't far.
yeah,
It's probably about a half hour. And then yeah, Princeton's 20 minutes.
excellent. All right,
But
well, all right, excellent. All right, well, I'm gonna get started. So hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I've got a fantastic guest for you coming from the East Coast. Erik Cabral, and he's a podcaster, he's a thought leader, he's an influencer, and he's got an inspiring message teaching the audience, high income earners, professionals, how to build a personal brand. A lot of it's overlooked, but it's really necessary in today's age. So he has a really powerful message surrounding that, and I'm really happy to welcome Erik to the show. Welcome, Erik.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. I appreciate you and your time.
Yeah, so just to get everything started, talk about you, how you got what you do, and how the audience can benefit from your expertise.
Yeah, so, in line with the theme and the name of your show in terms of, financial freedom and all of these things that had to do with finance, for sure, that was not something that I considered a strength throughout most of my life. Being a creative at heart and wanting to be a illustrator for Marvel Comics and maybe DC as if Marvel didn't accept me, I found out very quickly I was not good enough to
Mm,
draw. So I took graphic design. I went to School of Visual Arts in Manhattan, and then that became my career. I climbed the corporate ladder mostly through pharma and creating in-house creative agencies. So we would do all the brochures, all the ads, all the websites, all the brandings and logo. That stuff became, an over 20-year career for me. And at some point, it just grew tiresome. I felt like Bill Murray for all the OGs in the room. Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day. It was just like the alarm went off, and then I looked in the mirror, and I was heavy, and I was hairy, and I was unhappy. And on the commute to my job, which was an hour and a half commute to North Jersey, East Hanover, and I was listening to Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I now call that the purple pill. I took the purple pill where he was talking about financial freedom and the quadrants, the ESBI. And I realized that I was financially illiterate. This is what he was stressing in the book, how the system is not rigged or designed for us to know about wealth and wealth management and legacy and building all that, and that you either are an employee or a business owner or self-employed or an investor. And that was like mind blowing for me, Chris. And I just remember feeling like such a big dope, and a well of emotions started flooding over me where I was like angry and frustrated. And I was literally punching the steering wheel while I was listening to this audiobook. And but then eventually inspiration came over me. And that's when I decided to leave corporate America, had the conversation with my wife, and I'm like, hey, I don't think I want to go back. I think I want to leave. And she's like, okay, then what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'm gonna become a real estate investor. And she was like, what are you talking about? You don't know anything about real estate. And so I was like, I'm just going to absorb everything I possibly can. I did that. Within a year, I acquired my first multifamily building, grew a network of real estate investors, hundreds and hundreds of people, grew to love and respect me. I got on stages in local events, the first 5 people, then 50, then 150 people. It all happened very, very quickly. Started a podcast and a brand. And then all of a sudden, this podcast and brand turned into a company because all these investors needed what I created. This was back in 2017, and that the rest is history. It grew the podcast production agency On Air Brands, and then now we help clarify business owners' messages so that they can create a personal brand, meaning their online reputation over time.
yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. And I talked to a lot of individuals such as yourself, and originally, kind of these podcasts or YouTube channels, blogs are kind of just way to disseminate information and share, maybe market their companies, and it all of a sudden becomes a full-blown media production company, which is kudos to you. And so we will get started. I really there's one or two books that just kind of just eye opening, and Rich Dad Poor Dad is one of those. It's like just so impactful. It like explains everything that's going on, and like again, school and the media don't talk about this because they don't want you to know about it. So you know, kind of what are for the audience, they're in corporate America, they have practices, they're burnt out, they got midlife crisis. What are some of the biggest challenges you faced from making this leap from um, corporate America to entrepreneurship?
Oh man. I think James Clear put it best. There's a book called Atomic Habits. I had a lot of very bad habits, sleeping late, drinking, smoking, eating garbage, watching television way too late at night. And these were things that I had to slowly and over time replace with something better. It didn't happen quickly. It took years and years. But in this book, Atomic Habits, he says entrepreneurship is really personal development in disguise.
Mm,
And Chris, honestly, if I knew that, I probably wouldn't have done it. Like because that's the heavy lift is like becoming a better you, getting in shape, getting rid of all your vices, finding a way to be fit. And that's like the first and easy step is like I need to take care of my health. And then you realize, oh, that's just the first domino because then now it becomes a mental game. Like how do I break these habits where procrastination and wanting to go to my devices, like, eating Doritos, at midnight and watching Netflix, all those things, had to happen. Surrounding myself with people that inspired me and kind of letting go of friendships, like
mm,
family as well, just
mm,
because it was not a positive influence to move in the direction that I needed to go. So yeah, that was truly the hardest part was developing new habits and changing my mindset.
mm. Yeah, I love how you describe entrepreneurship as personal development. Yeah, and I resonate with you just kind of cutting off those negative influences, even family, you love your family and just I learned just to, keep my mouth shut, just so that it just keep your ideas and thoughts to yourself and, we'll see where everything turns out in, 5, 10 years. So the other question we talked about this earlier on in the green room was a lot of the audience they have these successful practices, they get they have high incomes, they think social media personal branding is a waste of time. Why is it essential for them to build a personal brand, market themselves on social media and so on?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So a lot of business owners, especially of I say the Gen X, I'm a Gen Xer to the baby boomer generation. We grew up without the internet. We remember what it was like, to have a phone attached to the wall with a long cord that we stretched from, the kitchen to the hallway or the bathroom or whatever. Um, but so there is a somewhat lack of knowledge and respect for what has evolved over time with social media. And social media at the time when it launched was truly a social platform, but now it's
Mm,
really become a commercial platform. It's a way for us to market ourselves, and
mhm,
and it's become an entertainment platform for sure. Like I heard a saying, I forgot who said, but social media is less social and now more entertainment with a comment section. that's
mhm,
that's really what it's become. And what we have to understand is there was there was a survey done of over 1,000 people, uh, from Gen Z all the way to baby boomers and millennials. And what they have recognized is 67% of millennials, meaning Gen Zs, the ones that are going to be making all the business decisions over the next 25 years, the 67% of them think it is a requirement for any type of business owner to have a semblance of an online reputation, aka a personal brand, uh, in order for them to choose them and do business with them. So whether you're an attorney, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a banker, whatever it is, in a traditional sense of what you do, 15 years ago, you didn't need to have an online presence. All you needed was a website, and maybe some social accounts. But actively putting your face and your voice on social media, whether it's through a podcast like this or your own podcast, or even just going live from time to time, people want to know who they are working with. People want to work with people and not logos. So that's really important. Also, in this study, it was found that 58% of these millennials, older millennials, are willing to pay more money for the person who has a personal brand versus the attorney that has no online presence. So
Mm,
a brand is very, very important. You know, people, you can go say Louis Vuitton bag versus a no-name brand. Like people will pay thousands and thousands of dollars versus, $12. So brand is important. Personal branding is your online reputation, and statistics show that it's necessary at this point.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you described because millennials and Gen Z, they're the generation that gets it, and then kind of Gen Xers, we kind of got smashed in between the end of the industrial and the beginning of the information. And then like for example, like I look up some colleagues online, and they're like they're like, yeah, I'm a surgeon. I make X amount. You look them up online, you can't find them, and I think they want that because they don't want to get sued. But it's like, what happens if that hospital goes under, um, or they get laid off? It's like you're SOL. But they're like, yeah, I'm good. So, what are the first steps someone should take when starting to build their personal brand? Any common pitfalls to avoid?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest common pitfall, Kristen, thanks for that question, is turning on the cameras or starting to post on social media with very little of a plan or an idea of what you want to talk about. Um, or you think that, oh, I'm going to talk about this. A personal brand is me talking about myself. So I'm going to post a lot of videos of my lifestyle. And, I do cold plunges, I do red light therapy. Here's me at the pool with my family. And what eventually happens over time is, and I get people coming up to me and going, Eric, why are people asking me how to build a cold plunge? I'm like, that is because you keep posting yourself about your project on building your own cold plunge out of a freezer, a deep freezer. And he's like, oh, but I'm a real estate investor. That sucks. And I'm like, well, do you plan on building a lifestyle brand? Like, do you want to teach people how to do, hot cold therapy? No, I need people to invest in my deals. I want to raise capital. Then stop posting stuff about things that you don't have a business around. So that's the biggest pitfall is people post without thinking of the end game. Like what is going to be the result of me posting this type of content consistently? So
Hmm.
what I would encourage everyone to do is at least write down the things that you love and are passionate about and can talk about all day until the cows come home, and then work from with the end goal in mind. Oh, does it lead to my practice? Does it lead to what I do for a living? And then start the breadcrumb and the trail from there.
hmm Yeah, I know. In what's interesting is, you look at successful law practices, or a lot of physician influencers, thought leaders now. They're incorporating their expertise in training and sharing it through videos. And those actually get hundreds of thousands of views because people want to educate themselves and know about these. So there's a variety of places to build a brand. There's like, I mean, you name there's a top five or whatnot. And I've heard of this. You talk about the role of podcasting, and how critical is it having a podcast for building a personal brand? Why should people consider podcasting over a YouTube channel or Instagram or Twitter or LinkedIn?
Yeah, so LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, these are platforms for you to put bite-sized chunks, whether it's quotes or images, even video clips. But there's no long form content. Those aren't long form video consumption platforms like YouTube. So YouTube is the behemoth, right? It's Google. And if you create a podcast, I'm doing that in air quotes because it's no longer a podcast because people associate that with audio. It's really a show. So I like to call podcast shows now because it needs to live on YouTube. It has to be on YouTube because that's where people go. That's where Google indexes and SEO and all the things happen for your business in terms of your conversations, which now gets transcribed through AI, all those things. are beneficial for a business or anyone who's building a personal brand to put their show on YouTube. Now, that's a heavy lift, though, Chris. So it's a lot of work, it's a lot of video editing. It's easier to start with an audio only podcast and publish to Apple and Spotify, the big ones. But what I would say is before you even do all of that, is figuring out what your personal brand is, like your core values, your systems and beliefs, the things that you want to talk about first before turning and hitting record.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Begin with the end in mind and then kind of work backwards and be very intentional and targeted and focused and specific. Um, the uh, the other thing that's really interesting is, we get there's so many new software and gadgets, and there's now like there's really cool. You can build AI avatars. But the core of it's relationships and networking. So this is really interesting idea. How can you leverage relationships to grow your brand in addition to a podcast or social media, um, and give examples of the impact they've had on your success?
Yeah, like you said, Chris, relationships it's everything. It's absolutely everything. If you don't have relationships, you're not growing a business, right? You need people that know, like, and trust you over time, and eventually they will give you their hard-earned dollars, to manage their wealth, or to work on their teeth, whatever it is. They have to trust you. And the wonderful thing about social media is that you can start to develop that relationship while you're sleeping, because your content is serving that purpose of the what I call the digital handshake. And now over time, you're embedding in their mindset, in their mind over time. So when they do need you, when they do need that that orthopedics, or they need that eye doctor, whatever it is, you're top of mind because you're constantly in their feed. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't necessarily have to be relevant to your exactly what you do every single day. But as I mentioned earlier, if you can identify core values within yourself, so you have clarity in who you are, and put that out there in a real way, so that people can fall in love with who you are, right? Because they're going to go to that other dentist. Oh, that guy doesn't align with my political views or my faith or whatever it is. They're going to find the person that does exactly that, but aligns with their values. So that's what we want to do, is like, don't hide behind the desk, put yourself out there. I hate using the word authentic because it's become so cliche, but it is that. Put yourself out in an authentic way, so that when those folks are ready to do business, they're going to reach out to you for those reasons.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. Um, to end it out, um, for those aspiring entrepreneurs, kind of, what advice would you give? Because I know, there's a lot of highs and lows, and it's really takes a lot of courage just to kind of leap out there. So what are your parting words and thoughts, and how can people find you and, follow you?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chris. I say, and I'll borrow this from Sean Cannell of Think Media, is just hit record. That's the first step. But I would even say take it one step further, not forward, but backwards. Before you hit record, really write down what you like, who you are, who you serve, and then what do you do for them? How do you solve their problem? Those three
Mm,
things, once you narrow that down in a very clear and concise way on paper, then you can begin to articulate that. Because if you don't have clarity in your message, how do we expect others to have clarity in what you do and how you help them? So that's the stuff that I love. I love going in deep on people, their business for sure, but on them as individuals. Like, let's find the real you that you can put out there with pride and with courage and confidence, and then see where it takes you from there. So yeah, if you want to talk about this and how we can do that and how we develop your personal brand, your online reputation for you, I'll just put the simplest way is my email, Erik, Erik, at onairbrands.com. Yeah, Erik at onairbrands.com.
yeah. And for all the audience, I encourage you guys to check out Erik's socials, give them a like and follow, check out his uh, media company, and thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate you, Chris. Thank you so much.